Why does a piece of chocolate slip across your tongue, soften like velvet, and dissolve into a pool of sweetness, almost as if it was designed by nature itself to melt so perfectly? The secret lies in a dance of science, craftsmanship, and centuries of trial and error. Yet most of us never think about the hidden story behind that silky melt. Chocolate doesn't just behave this way by chance. It's the result of precise tempering, an ancient practice that chocolatiers still guard like treasure. At its heart is cocoa butter, a rare fat with a melting point just below human body temperature, meaning the second it touches your mouth, it begins to yield without resistance, creating that slow, luxurious slide that no other food can replicate. But this natural quirk alone isn't enough. Cocoa butter is tricky, unstable even, existing in multiple crystal forms, and only one, the stable form 5, creates that satisfying snap when you break a bar, that glossy shine on its surface, and that iconic melt that feels almost alive. To achieve it, chocolate makers heat the cocoa mass, then cool it, then reheat it, carefully coaxing the butter into aligning its crystals in the exact structure needed for perfection. Miss a step, and you get dull, chalky chocolate that crumbles in your hands instead of melting in your mouth. Imagine this process as teaching a crowd of restless dancers to move in unison. Chaos at first, but with enough practice, a perfect synchronized rhythm emerges, and that rhythm is what your senses experience every time you let chocolate linger on your tongue. And yet, there's more. Because every region, every farm, and every bean adds its own fingerprint to the melt, the flavor, and even the sensation. A chocolate bar from Ghana will soften differently than one from Ecuador, carrying earthy tones or fruity edges, while white chocolate, stripped of cocoa solids, melts in a lighter, creamier way, almost like a whisper compared to the deep voice of dark chocolate. And then there's the role of sugar crystals, milk proteins, and even the microscopic air bubbles trapped during conching, all adding to that moment when the solid begins to collapse into liquid gold. Close your eyes and you'll realize chocolate doesn't just melt. It transforms, first resisting, then surrendering, like it's playing a game only your senses can decode. This isn't just food. It's engineering disguised as pleasure, a masterpiece of physics and chemistry sculpted into something you casually unwrap at midnight. And think about this. No other natural fat in our diet behaves quite this way. Butter melts too fast, leaving grease. Cheese clings to your teeth. Oils coat the mouth but never vanish with such elegance. Chocolate alone disappears at exactly the pace we crave, as though its melting point was designed around the human body, a secret alignment between us and the bean that grew thousands of miles away. Maybe that's why it has been treated as currency, medicine, and even a sacred offering across civilizations, because people felt, even if they didn't know the science, that there was something magical in the way it responded to human touch. But here's the twist nobody talks about. That melt is fragile, almost vulnerable. A humid day, a wrong storage temperature, a rushed tempering process, and the spell breaks. Your bar blooms with white streaks, the crystals rebel, and the melt feels grainy instead of smooth. It reminds us that perfection in chocolate is never guaranteed. It's earned every single time by the patience of the maker. So the next time you let a square rest on your tongue, don't just taste it. Listen to it. Feel the way it breaks down, and notice how it vanishes exactly when you need it to. That isn't an accident. It's a quiet miracle shaped by farmers, scientists, and artisans across centuries. And maybe, just maybe, the reason chocolate melts so perfectly isn't just science. It's because we, as humans, needed one food in the world that speaks directly to our senses. One edible thing that doesn't just feed us, but seduces us, breaking all the rules of ordinary matter. That's why chocolate feels like it was made for us. And why, if you think about it long enough, the real mystery isn't how it melts so perfectly, but how something so fleeting manages to leave behind a memory that lingers far longer than its taste.